All right, welcome to the Go Find Nervous Show, the show where we talk about the challenges that made us nervous in life and how we progressed over them to find massive success. I'm the host, Jake Bollig. I don't like to waste a lot of time, so I'm going to jump right into it. The first question here, and then after the first question, I'm going to introduce our guest. So concerning the health procedure that you had to undergo, Zach, prior to the surgery, when did it really sink in that you had a big challenge ahead of you?
I got to say that probably it wasn't prior to surgery. It was the day after surgery where it was probably the worst pain I had in my life. And that's when I knew it was time to dig in and fight. But beforehand, it was uncomfortable. It was life altering. It definitely wasn't fun, but I didn't really know the battle ahead. I just knew it was something that I had to do. And I was mentally prepared for that. But, it kind of knocked me on my knees that first day after surgery.
Okay. So let me formally introduce our guest today. So today's guest is a loyal, honest, hardworking family man. He's a former baseball player turned top 1% real estate sales guy in Arizona. He's a podcaster, an investor, an inventor. He recently overcame a tremendous physical challenge that epitomizes the philosophy of confronting nervous and conquering it. His ability to overcome this challenge with such a fierce determination, then take the perceived negative and turn it into a positive is not only inspiring to me, but I think it's going to inspire millions of people around the world. One of the most generous and loyal people that I know, who I'm grateful to call my friend, a host of a Dick Pin podcast, which I'm grateful to be a part of as well. And everyone should check out. Zach Cates is on the show today. Thanks for being here, brother.
You're welcome. Thank you.
So if you can give us, please give us a background for the people listening, a short background of exactly what this medical procedure it is that you went through, what happened, and how it all came about.
I had a colorectomy, proctolectomy, and ileostomy, which in layman's terms, I had my colon, anus, and rectum removed. And it all started about 10 years ago. I saw some blood in my stool and got checked out, and they told me that I had Crohn's disease. It ended up being ulcerative colitis. And so after battling with it for 10 years, we finally figured out that it was ulcerative colitis, which is isolated in your colon. And the good thing about your colon is you can take it out. And so after a fight and everything else, going to the bathroom 20 plus times a day, I made the decision that, hey, let's yank this thing out and get onto our new life with an ostomy bag. And hopefully that would involve being outside more, spending more time with my kids and less time in the bathroom.
Mm-hmm. When did you learn that you had had the surgery? And then how long has it been since the procedure exactly?
What's today, the 10th? So I was
December 10th, yeah.
8 months post-op, 3 days ago on the 7th so far. And then between my test results, my colonoscopy and endoscopy, figuring out whether I had ulcerative colitis or not, from that point to surgery was 2.5 weeks. We had to wait 2 weeks to get a test back.
Wow.
But God opened doors, and it was like connected me with my surgeon, Chris Venkatesh, and Dennis Sarfate played a big role in that and stuff. But it was like bang, 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 bang. Next thing you know, everything's gone and on the road to recovery.
So from the time that you decided to have the surgery to the time that you had the surgery was 2 weeks, or approximately
2.5 weeks. Yeah, I found out on a Friday. We had to wait 2 weeks to the next Friday to get those test results back to make sure I didn't have this bacterial infection in my gut, which we knew I didn't have, but you just had to wait. And because it was like ink blotted or something like that, it took a while. So the following Wednesday after that second Friday was when I had surgery.
That's a quick turnaround from going from being a certain way your entire life, right? Into going, wait a second, 2 weeks from now, hold on, everything is going to be different. What kind of steps mentally did you have to take, or were you even able to comprehend the things that you're going to go through, or was it a whirlwind?
I didn't comprehend. I didn't do a lot of research on it, which was probably to my benefit overall. I didn't know much. All I knew is that the way I was living my life wasn't really living, and I had to change. I couldn't, I bought a Sprinter van because when I'm out showing houses, I mean, I was going to the bathroom 20 times a day. You're talking like close to once an hour, sometimes more than once an hour.
Mm.
And it's really frustrating. And just living within arm's reach of a bathroom is no way to live. So I just thought, no matter what, I know, surgical pain and stuff from having a knee surgery and whatever, but I knew that was just going to be part of it. But I thought that, the light was at the end of the tunnel post surgery, that my life was going to be a lot better and I could eventually be outside and with my kids and doing all this stuff without being within arm's reach of the bathroom.
Right. So the prospect of that life was worth almost anything at that point. Now it had to be the road to recovery. I know it's been 8 months now. You say, healthy. I think of you as I mean, I don't see any different. You're a healthy guy doing amazing things out there, but along the way, there had to be maybe some setbacks or some times where you're like, am I ever going to be able to get back to what I thought I was going to get back to? Or,
Sure.
And then those times, what did you do mentally, or who did you lean to, or how did you get through? Or if you could tell me about a couple of those times, and then what did you do to persevere through those times?
Sure. Yeah, the first day post-op was probably the worst pain I ever had. After that, I was on prednisone, which is a oral steroid for Crohn's and whatever. And I was probably on it for 6.5 to 7 years, which you shouldn't be on it that long.
Oh, wow.
Anybody that has IBD or anything else, I tell them, get off that as soon as you can, because I think it wrecks your system. Wrecked my system, wrecked my testosterone levels. It screwed up like my vitamin intake, all that stuff. After surgery, I got all my levels tested and got those all right. But atrophy was awful. My ankles and Achilles were locked up. My hips were locked up. My shoulders were locked up. And because after surgery, you have 2 months where you can't lift over 10 pounds and all you can do is walk. Mm. And so it's kind of like you're just a slug on a rug type thing, and you can't really do anything. But I went to Ignite Physical Therapy. Our buddy Dennis Sarfay recommended, Jaime Garrido and Joe Poloni over there. Great guys. It hurt, man. It's like, you always have trepidation about working out. I say I hate working out. I don't hate working out. I hate that it's hard and it smells but you know what? Everybody wants the results from working out. I love that part of it. But those first 2 weeks of getting back at it after you haven't done it in a long time,
yeah,
it's scary. It sucks. It's not fun. And so that was kind of trepidation there. But getting through the atrophy got me back in the gym, which I hadn't done. And now I enjoy it. I enjoy, lifting weights and, from all the studies we've done and stuff, I think lifting weights helps your immune system, helps your recovery. And I think that's a big part of my recovery is, you gotta, like Goggins says, you gotta, embrace the suck and just bite your lip and give it hell, get through it.
Now I'm curious, removing those parts. I've had a bone removed from my hand. That's really the only part that I've had removed from my body. And I know that was not cool. It took me a while to get over that. It took me a year almost before my hand felt normal. It must have been, what was the feeling like? Was there any feeling at all or any difference where you noticed in your body, like, wait a second, I don't, like, something just feels weird. Like I don't have the part. Was there any kind of feeling like that?
Yeah, it was totally weird. Like you could pinch your side, like, below your ribs. And some days I could like pinch and be like this. And other days I'd be like, oh, there's stuff in there. And so it felt like your parts are kind of like floating around in space in there a little bit. And so I called my surgeon and be like, hey dude, is this normal? He's like, yeah, they'll settle in their, where they're going. But it's like, they were all cramped in this 1-bedroom apartment. Now they're living in a 4-bedroom mansion, kind of moving as they please or stretching their legs out. But it's like, it's fluid and stuff that fills in there. But sometimes it felt like, maybe your upper GI or whatever was moving over to one side. And some days it's like, dude, it's not there. It's just like, it was super, super weird, but not so much, don't have that sensation that much anymore because it feels like everything's kind of filling up a little bit. Maybe it's muscle mass help that. Maybe it's just everything is kind of in its place, but I don't have too many more moments where you're like, it's nothing there. But
no
from the beginning, it was super weird.
I can imagine squishy, So what, now I know a story weren't you trying to speed up the process, or you had a moment you're like, hey, I need to get going faster, and then you wanted to pull the cords out or pull the tubes out or something after surgery, and your doctor was like, well, I mean, what's that story?
Yeah. So you have a tube that basically is sucking out all the fluid, so it doesn't settle in your stomach or other places. So it's sucking the blood and the fluid out and stuff like that. Well, it got really itchy, and I'm talking to my surgeon. I text him. He's an awesome guy that he communicates like this. But I was like, bro, you take this thing out? He's like, well, it's only like a stitch and like pull it out. And I was like, cool. Can I come over to your house and we do it right now? Because he's too far from me. He's like, bro, well, if that fluid doesn't come through that tube and get out of your body, it's probably going to settle near your rear end. And then we're going to have to open that back up again and then suck it out that way. And I was like, we'll just leave the tube. We'll just do it for now. Yeah.
Just leave it in. Leave it in. Well, man, I'm super proud of you. Tell me about the process. How do you feel now physically, or when did you start to feel like, okay, you said it was 2 months where it was like atrophy. You had to kick you're on the steroid, for your previous, yeah. Yeah. And, you had to overcome that stuff. When did you start to feel like, okay, wait a second, I'm starting to get some momentum here. I'm starting to get comfortable with this is my new life. When did that occur for you?
I think probably like 3 months ago. Probably 3 months ago. So about month 4, like the first 2 months, you couldn't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
After that, the next 2 months were like really hard. Flexibility wise, like getting out of bed, feeling like you're, stuck in ice and like you can't move. It's just like cracking stuff. It hurts. I mean, I still deal with atrophy. I still deal with the pain.
Mm-hmm.
It's, 99% better than it was. And it probably won't ever be 100%, but you know what? I feel good. So I think I turned that corner probably 3 months ago to where I feel like more fluid, and I feel like, I get up, I got to do hip mobility exercises with bands, even when I'm not therapy, stretch stuff with the bands also for the upper body and,
Mm-hmm.
and loosen stuff up. And you got to make sure you get your steps in and be more active. There's a lot of conscious effort going into it.
Mm-hmm.
But 3 months ago, I felt like it turned a little bit. And then, I went hunting with our boy Luke and all that stuff. And then I realized that, hey, my cardio sucks because when you're hiking 5 miles and 12,000 feet elevation, lungs are burning, stuff like that. So that's what I got to work on now, is getting more and more steps every day. The more steps that I have been getting, the more flexibility it feels like you get.
Mm-hmm.
So I know it's going to be a lifelong journey, but 3 months ago is when it started kicking. Hopefully in the next 3 months, I'll feel even better than that.
I'm sure you will, because if anybody that follows you knows that you've attacked this as an opportunity, and you've been able to do things that I've seen and witnessed, dunking basketballs and getting in shape. And you mentioned just a second ago the hunt that you did. You recently just went on a 2-week adventure. Now this is what, 8 months post-op, or less than 8 months? 7 months post-op.
We left on that day, the 7th. The 7-month date is the day that we left.
Yeah. Okay. On the 7th. Yeah. Right. So 7-month post-op, you go into the mountains, you're hiking around, you're out living, and not only just living, it's not like you're living easy. You guys are doing miles a day up steep terrain. Tell me about that. How was that experience?
It was my second time being out there. First time we didn't luck out. This time God had better plans for us, and finally got my first bull. I mean, it was awesome. But yeah, being up in that elevation, it's no joke. We were living out in the bush, but I mean, you live out in the bush with these guys. We had great tents and toy haulers and amazing food and company, and like it's awesome. Like we just rotated who cooked and stuff. So being outdoors was phenomenal. The whole hunt was amazing. But yeah, the cardiovascular aspect of it, I think even if I was in 6 months fast forward cardio shape where I will be, it still would have been rough, because 12,000 feet will kill anybody.
Yeah. Yeah. How long did it take you to get acclimated to it? Or did you ever feel like,
man, I didn't get headaches the first year we went last year. And this year I had like a headache for like 2 days.
Yeah.
So it's like having the Rona, for a couple of days. And
well, we can talk about that on another time, on another podcast. Yeah. what we're coming up to the end here. I want to say that what you've done is incredibly inspiring, man. And I've been blessed to be a witness to it, to not only do that, but go through that, but go through it with grace. Anybody that's out there that wants to see somebody overcome and persevere through challenge, I mean, they need to see your story, in my opinion, because you take it head on, you do it with faith, and yeah, you go through ups and downs, but you're honest about it. You post about it. You have been open about your story. And it's been a real pleasure to not only see you do that, but be your friend alongside of that. So how can people that want to follow along with what you're doing and your progress can follow you?
They could go on our Instagram, our Dick Pim page, Dick Pim at Dick Pim Podcast is on there. We have that on Facebook too. My personal stuff is at Zach J. Cates. You can post that, whatever, on my Instagram, and my Facebook is that too. And I'm pretty transparent. I mean, my stuff is all private and whatever, but if you tell me that, hey, I heard you on Jake's show, then I'll know you're friends of friends and it's all good. But otherwise, I'm pretty open and transparent. And I hope that'll help other people. I wish, for instance, our government would do that and be more transparent and make other people understand. But I think for especially diseases and conquering diseases or losing a battle, but now winning another battle.
Yeah.
I think just being open, honest, and I think I hope they appreciate it, just because it's like maybe there's gross stuff they don't want to hear about, but you got to hear about it.
Yeah. And I know they will. And you have a lot of products. You have some cool products coming out soon. And maybe next time we can come on and talk about those, and those will be fleshed out down the line and we can talk about those again. But we're wrapping up the show now. Thanks, Zach, for being on the show. It's been a real pleasure.
Awesome.
And just remember, everybody out there, if you are in a place where you need to find progress, don't forget to go find Nervous. Thanks, Zach.
Thanks, brother. See you guys.
Hey, one last thing. Thank you so much for watching this episode. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I always enjoy interviewing all these cool people. I hope to have you as a guest one day too. What I put together is a class called masteringnervous.com. If you want to check it out, cool. If not, cool too. But what it is something that can speed up the time. It took me 20 years to figure it out, and this is an hour and a half. So if you want to check it out, masteringnervous.com is the place that you can go. Other than that, make sure to follow us on social media at Go Find Nervous, and then hit me up too at Jake Bollig. Thanks for watching the show. I appreciate you. I sincerely do. Go Find Nervous.